Good morning and welcome to another super exciting edition of the Saturday Breakfast Show with me, your host, Nangula Nanyamba. You know the gist. As always, I have the best lineup for you. Without further ado, let's jump right into the exercise segment, and that will obviously be followed by our breakfast segment. And today we have a very, very special guest with us, so stay tuned for that. We'll see you on the other side.
Hi guys, I'm Ina Ngari, a member of parliament. You are watching the Saturday Breakfast Show.
Hey there, you're watching the Saturday Breakfast Show, and my name is Dina. Shout out to all my friends, the PDM Club.
Hola Namibia, this is the Truth King PJ. Keep watching the Saturday Breakfast Show. It's dope.
Good morning, my name is Glory Diana Nahole. I am an immature chef, but also a medical student at the University of Namibia. So today we will be preparing some egg benedict with hollandaise sauce. So my ingredients, I have vinegar here, I have some lemon juice, I have some egg yolks, avocado, butter, paprika, salt, 2 eggs which I will be making poached eggs with, and some hamburger buns, as well as some black pepper. Now we are gonna blend some eggs. Some lime juice. Add in a bit of paprika. And salt. So once this is done blending, you add in some melted butter. And then you would want to blend even more. And then this sauce, we call it the hollandaise sauce. It's the sauce you pour on top of the poached eggs once you start plating out your dish. All right, we are done with this. So now we will add some vinegar into our boiling water. Right. And then we'll crack open 2 eggs. And then we'll let them simmer for 4 minutes. First, we start off with the buns. We will be applying some avocado. You first apply the avocado and then you top it off with some ham. Add the poached egg. And then you add some hollandaise sauce. And top it off with some paprika spice. As well as some black pepper. Yeah, and that's your dish.
Hello everybody, my name is Yujimo, this is Charity. And check out our brand at Yujimo on IG. Check out my music as well. You are watching the Saturday Breakfast Show.
Welcome back to the Saturday Breakfast Show, and I have a very special guest with me today. His name is Tiri. He goes simply by Tiri. You know he's a big deal if it's just one name. Tiri is a media entrepreneur and a journalist. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
So I have to ask, what is media entrepreneurship?
Well, just generally, I think media entrepreneurship, I think we all start from somewhere. I mean, if you're a journalist, obviously you go to college and you get employed. You work enough to gain experience. And after gaining experience, probably you get to a point where you feel like you can actually start something of your own.
Oh, okay.
And be able to run it. I think primarily it's being able to graduate from the level of, just wanting to work for someone.
Yeah, and working
to
for
get
yourself.
to a point where you can actually work for yourself. You could do this maybe as a consultant. You could do this as a freelance. You can also maybe have your own company registered, so you can actually sell your own content.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how has that fared for you?
Well, primarily I must say I'm still in the infancy. I'm still in the infancy of starting.
But you do stories for BBC. That's not infant.
Well,
that's a big deal. That's like a huge deal.
Yeah, as a journalist, of course, I mean, we get to a point where you feel like, okay, I've grown, but we pretty much learn on a daily basis. I mean, to be able to freelance for international publications or organizations, you need to start from somewhere. Yeah.
Right.
So there's not really much to, the whole wow about it. It's just the daily routine. It's like it's like a doctor,
Yeah.
eating their chest for saving
Yeah.
a life. This is something that you do
Oh, okay.
every day.
Right. No, but I mean, if a doctor wanted to, I mean, they are more than entitled to. It's not a small task. So, what got you interested in journalism?
Well, ideally, I think a long time ago, when I eventually became a journalist, it wasn't really my first option. I'm not a qualified journalist, by the way. I did mass communication.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I studied mass communication. It's only now that I'm studying further, into journalism. So, ideally, I wanted to
Please
be,
dig in.
Thank you very much. I wanted to, specialize in mass communication.
Okay.
Grow and then eventually start my own thing as a consultant.
What's mass communication?
Well, mass communication is just, covers the whole media spectrum, right? But it's mostly production of content. It could be political content, it could be business content, it could be whatever kind of content that you want to produce. But, behind the scenes.
Oh, okay.
So eventually after college, I realized that I kind of have a passion in writing. So, well, bit by bit, I started writing. Then I realized, okay, I actually, really enjoy this.
Okay.
So from then, I specialized as a business journalist, primarily because there are not so many
Right.
business journalists. I mean, people try to shy away from it. They presume that it's difficult. I don't know why though, but it's something that I've always loved.
What's the media industry like in Namibia?
Well, if I must be honest, I think we are in a position where we are still growing.
Right.
Right? If you really want to look from the print side of it, you would obviously have your big newspapers that have made it big, but we are still getting there. I think now that media is sort of transcendent. We now have new trends that have come in. I think digital media has sort of taken
Over.
Yeah. So we are in a transitional phase from the conventional type of media that we're used in. I mean, not so many people buy newspapers these
Right.
days. I mean, most people want to get the news on their phones. So we are transitioning from the conventional kind of journalism that we used to have to digital kind of journalism where your social media dominates, short stories dominates, video content dominates. But in as much as we are transitioning, I think we're doing pretty well for ourselves compared to other countries in Africa. I think primarily because in terms of the infrastructure, the easy connection to internet. I mean, you pretty much can connect and create content from anywhere in Namibia. Yeah.
So what do you have to say about, journalism tends to get like a bit of a bad rep. What do you have to say to people who, don't necessarily have good things to say about being a journalist or journalists in general?
That's a good one. Okay, I mean, for journalists, we are not those people with the best of friends with everybody, right? People have their own rights, but I think ideally it's very important to understand that journalism or media per se is not really legally regulated, but it's a self-regulated industry.
What does that mean?
We have ethics that we need to follow. So it's not that Tiri can just wake up and says, I want to write a story about this person, and then you badge them. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. You research, you engage your sources. You need to make sure whatever you churn out there is the most correct content, verified content. I mean, facts.
All right. So there's no body that governs what you guys put out. It's just your ethics. Is that what you're saying?
Well, primarily in Namibia, journalism is not regulated by the government. Unlike other countries where I think where dictatorship thrives, in Namibia we have a self-regulatory environment.
Right. Doesn't that create room for bullies?
Well, it doesn't. It's not just self-regulated, but there's a journalism code of conduct where everybody subscribe to.
Okay.
The code of conduct is very clear. I mean, of course, it's a normative code, but it's very clear on what constitutes ethical journalism, what you must do. I mean, primarily, you don't just want to, just write for the sake of it.
But if there's no body that's regulating journalists, it's just your ethics, doesn't that create like a space for bullying or things like that?
Okay, now with the advent of social media, of course, there's an element of bullying, I mean, from the so-called citizen journalists. But professional journalists, we have a media code of conduct that we follow. Gives you general guidelines of how you conduct yourself as a journalist, how you treat sensitive information, how you treat sensitive issues in society,
Okay.
and how you also, give out the information. For as long as your story satisfies public interest and is factual enough, you can do this. But, when you talk about bullying generally in media, I wouldn't think there's any professional journalist who believes in, cyberbullying. We don't. But these things, I think, they are the so-called citizen journalists. These are people that are not trained journalists or trained media personalities. Because of the access to social media, now it's easier to just post whatever you want to post. So take note of the term that when they say citizen journalists, these are just people who gather content, whether verified or unverified, just churn it outside. But now in the media industry, the normal media industry where people are trained, you need to verify your facts. And there are remedies. Should you write something that infringes somebody, there are remedies. There's the media ombudsman. If someone feels like they've been, had it, they can lay a complaint against you to seek remedy. There are courts.
Okay.
You can be sued for it. I mean, you were challenged in court.
Defamation, you were telling me earlier, defamation lawsuits rarely lead to anything.
Well, the fact that it's very difficult to win a defamation case doesn't necessarily take away the right
for you to
sue somebody for defamation. But like I said, at some point every other journalist is going to get sued. That's normal. But
really?
for as long as your story does satisfy the dictates of public interest, it's factual enough, so researched, and you've done your due diligence. That's part of the game. These things happen on a daily basis. But you don't want to be in a position where you are sued and you cannot verify your own or authenticate your own facts. That becomes very unfair on the sources that you've written about.
Right. So is credibility very important in the journalism space?
You're right. I think there's a general belief that if you venture into the media space, be it a broadcaster or a print journalist, your qualifications from college only matter the moment you move into the industry. At the end of the day, what gets you the next gig or the next job comes down to your name. I mean, you get to a point where you don't actually need to apply for a job anymore. You actually get to be approached because your name is solid enough. If your name is not concrete enough, it also becomes detrimental to you. Growing. So.
Okay. So any advice for future journalists or future journalist wannabes?
Well, I would say, for as long as you have the passion, you believe in what you want to do, and you want to go for it. Journalism is pretty easy. I mean, take your chance and go for it. It's not for the faint-hearted.
Right.
It's not the kind of profession where you want to go into and you're just gonna be a millionaire very fast. You might not even find a millionaire journalist.
Right.
But if your heart is in the right place and you feel like you're burning for it, take it.
So what is that burning sensation to be a journalist? Is it like the desire to tell the truth, or what exactly is it? What drives people to want to be a journalist?
Well, primarily, I think for most of us is the passion. I mean, you want to be, I think the reason why I got into the media is I wanted to touch lives in a different way. Eventually, you want to write a story that changes someone's life. So to be able to touch lives that are not touched every day, it's good enough. Of course, the finances and the wallet comes in later, but the burning sensation is to touch different lives and also give the voice to those that are not normally given a voice in society. So,
can you make a lot of money from journalism here in Namibia? I'm just asking.
Yes, no.
Okay.
Check. Like I said, journalism is not the kind of profession where you want to go for a get rich quick scheme. You need to be able to grow. I mean, if you get to a point where you are a senior journalist, well, you can afford your lifestyle. Like I'm telling you now, I'm pretty much currently I've been a freelance journalist for quite some time. I'm living. I don't think I'm right there, but I'm okay. I don't struggle to put food on my table. I don't struggle to get my basics done. So if you are patient enough to grow, you are patient enough to be mentored, you are patient enough to realize that I have my mistakes here and I have to perfect them. When your name grows, you will make money out of journalism.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. That's all the time we have for today. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, my name is Emily and I just want to give a shout out to my best friend Maggie. I love you, and you know what? You guys are actually watching the Saturday Breakfast Show.
Hi guys, I'm Princeline and I want to give a shout out to everybody that's watching the Saturday show. Enjoy guys.
plus money we mash up. Pull up in a Benz so fire. Open and close and drop it. I don't bring coins, that's why. D plus money we mash up. Pull up in a Benz on fire. Open and close and drop it. Dollar follow me. Yeah. They cannot fire me. Money rain on me. Kalunga blessing me. They call me Burner Girl, Burner Girl, Burner Girl. They call me Burner Girl, Burner Girl, Burner Girl. They call me Burner Girl, Burner Girl, Burner Girl. They call me Burner Girl, Burner Girl, Burner Girl. The industry try to cop block me, but these motherfuckers can't stop me. I know some of y'all don't like me. Y'all out here big profit. Bring all knife that I've vanished. One after the other make them panic. I split no sea, I walk on water. Take that and turn it to wild. It's Sonya that you not me. Rock child, this is how we run things. Big cheddar, no play. I do better, not okay. Cause I'm not here to play. If I go down, you got to pay. I got no time for romantic calls. I run things and things around me. Dollar follow me. Yeah. They cannot fire me. Money rain on me. Kalunga blessing me. They call me Burner Girl, Burner Girl, Burner Girl. They call me Burner Girl, Burner Girl, Burner Girl. They call me Burner Girl.
It's Jody on the bed. I love this guy.
Yes, son.
And that brings us to an end of today's episode of the Saturday Breakfast Show. I certainly hope you enjoyed yourself with me, Nangula Nanyemba. And as always, we'd like to send a big shout out and a big thank you to all our sponsors and everybody behind the scenes working tirelessly to make sure that our little show goes off without a hitch. And from me, that's it. I'll see you again next time. Ciao.